Hi, everyone. My name is James. I'm here with Michelle, Nick, and Sogand. Our company is 3D Systems, and we are a 3D printing company based out of the US, and we're looking to enter the Indian market. I want to start with a general overview and touch on what 3D printing is. It's a relatively new technology that creates objects by adding and building layers. It was invented in 1983 by our company's co-founder, Chuck Hull. In 1986, he helped us become the first 3D printing company in the world. And since then, the technology in the industry has grown beyond what even the inventor's wildest imagination was. Here's a quote from Chuck Hall, 2014. It says, "The whole premise of this technology has been to foster creativity and change in product design and manufacturing and so forth. At the individual level, I think there's a great kind of pent up need. We've got into the computer age and everything is on screen or remote, and we've kind of missed the tangible result. This is a means to convert something on the computer to reality in a straightforward way." So, I think he was kind of ahead of the curve. And even back then in 86 was, seeing this as the future and that, untapped possibilities that are there. And as a follow up to this interview question, which, like I said, was in 2014 on CNN, he was asked what had surprised him the most in the growth of the possibilities from 3D printing, and he said directly, right away, the medical applications. I didn't anticipate that. Now 3D printing has grown since Hull first invented it. When he invented it, he was using a type of resin, and now it covers all kinds of materials from different resins, plastics, metals, nylons, wood, and even food. People can 3D print a part for an antique car, piece of a spaceship, or a new pasta shape, or an entire house. And the possibilities seem endless at this point. A lot of these applications aren't profitable yet, or practical, or may never be. And some are just being developed, and there's a lot more on the horizon that people think is possible and coming soon. But what we want to focus on is not only one of the most profitable applications of 3D printing, but also on where there's a great need. And this will ultimately give us an ability to change people's lives as well. This specifically is the medical applications in the healthcare industry. These applications, what are they? They're medical devices that cover everything from dental implants to patient-specific prosthetics, inner ear devices, titanium implants, etc. But our software's ability to create anatomical models and 3D guided surgeries using already existing medical imaging data as well. This data with our software and printers can create custom patient-specific solutions that can be done on site and on demand. Our company provides all this. We have the printers, we have the software, the materials, and the support. We cover the business end to end, and this sets us apart from the competition. We don't just sell you a printer, we sell you the solutions that are easy to implement. Next, I want to go over some general facts about India as a nation, just to show why we're interested in expanding into the country. After this, we'll get deeper into the market and focus in on the data. So India in general, India has the third largest economy in the world. Its GDP growth rate is slowing, but it's still very high at 6.8%. And to give you perspective, US is at 2.9 right now. It's the second most populous nation in the country, and it has 17% of the total world population. And with that, it still has an annual growth rate of over 1%. The 5-year trend in unemployment has been good as well, but the pandemic in this recent year has dramatically increased the number in 2020. And despite this, though, the medical industry continues to do well due to it being essential and the rising population numbers and the increasing age of the population. It has a good relationship with USA in terms of trade. It ranks number 1 for India's exports and number 2 in its imports. And on a negative side, the inflation has been rising over the past 2 years. And then the pandemic that's happened this year and a lot of flooding in the nation has contributed to an increase in this trend in 2020, and it's assumed to continue until 2026. There's been some regional shutdowns. Next slide, please. There've been some regional shutdowns throughout the country, and that's due to the pandemic. And this has hurt the growth of imports in general, and it's disrupted the fundamental supply chain, which has exposed weaknesses of these supply chains and also of India's dependence on certain imported goods. The political environment in India is also trending towards more nationalistic values, which is bad for global trade. But despite these negatives, FDI in the medical devices industry has been set at 100% by the government. And that's because they currently import 70% of what they sell in India. So they depend on this. There's a great need in the country. Our products, the 3D printers and software, allows for the creation of these medical devices in India that will not be dependent on the supply chain and reduces India's dependence on importing these products. And our printers are going to allow for the creation of on-demand and customizable product that will lower costs and increase flexibility while increasing Indian independence.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure. So this is just a little outline of our project focus. So as Jim mentioned, we're looking at 3D printing, also known as additive manufacturing within the healthcare industry. So that's selling or having the ability to sell and offer both the 3D printer and or the 3D printed medical device. So our regional focus is India, given the past success in the Asia Pacific region. And also something we'll explore is India's healthcare market, which has seen an uptick in recent years. So we'll look at the product, the background specifically related to the healthcare industry, the rise of 3D printing in other markets. We'll look at in-depth country and market analysis, and also a marketing strategy for entrance into India. This is just a quote here from the Harvard Business Review, basically highlighting the importance of 3D printing and how it's taking off as far as creating good, reliable products. And an important key here is in moderate to large quantities, which we'll touch on a little bit later. So in India, healthcare is one of their largest sectors. Not only is it important for revenue in India, but also employment, as the healthcare industry employs vast numbers of both Indian doctors and healthcare workers. It's also home to a large pool of well-trained medical professionals. So they do have a good foundation for those looking to enter the medical field in India, which also helps our product as an entrant into India. An interesting point is that healthcare is considered a lot cheaper in India. So you might get what are sometimes referred to as tourists from other countries, not a tourist in the typical sense, but somebody going to India to seek a healthcare need. The price of surgery there compared to the US is about a tenth. So that provides, some room for growth. And the forecasting model or models that we looked at looks at India as a threefold increase by 2022. So really a market that is increasing on the whole. And another important point is that India's government is investing in healthcare. So it's very important to the Indian government, and they have started a national initiative to back and bolster their healthcare industry. This chart here, called Advantage India, kind of looks at that government-sponsored program. But basically it highlights 4 areas: demand, opportunities, manpower, and policy support. So as we mentioned, the healthcare market is expected to grow in India. This is driven by rising income, better health awareness. So I'll mention in the next slide that more Indian citizens are receiving healthcare coverage. So this also helps the market for medical devices, because those healthcare providers will be possible customers. Opportunities, people seem to flock to India for healthcare opportunity because of this growth. And the third point, that the number of doctors has increased from 2010 to 2018, a vast increase in the number of doctors and medical professionals. And then in 2018, they launched a national healthcare scheme to basically put a focus on healthcare, and they earmarked significant funding for this as well. So this slide shows market characteristics of India and some prospective buyers. So India imports approximately 75% of their medical devices, and exports from the US to India make up 1/4 in medical devices. So it's really significant portion of both US exports and what India imports as well as far as their medical devices. So only 25% domestically produced, which for a US company looking to market their product in India, this would be an attractive number for them. As I mentioned, health insurance coverage is on the rise, so that opens up potential buyers as well. These well-funded insurance companies. And then this is the year-over-year growth of imports and exports for India. So if you look at the import line and then the imports from the US year over year, it goes up. So this is another attractive point that we found for the Indian market. This slide here looking at how, when, why, and where they buy. So heavily dependent on importing medical devices. They also buy from foreign firms. Some have established manufacturing bases in India, so this is something that 3D Systems could look to. And then specifically, they import their higher end medical devices, kind of like custom products that they need. And this is where 3D printing plays a great role, because 3D printers are capable of producing these sophisticated devices and even organs or prosthetics, which are extremely specialized and something that India would look to import. When and why do they buy? Well, right now, really, with the healthcare initiatives that the Indian government has launched, increased spending through 2025. So the next 5 years would be really important for an entrant into this market. The virus, COVID, has also increased awareness about healthcare in various regions in India. And where we know that, based on the table below, that the largest medical device suppliers are in the US. So GE, Johnson & Johnson, Philips, Cardinal Health, Stryker, some of the big ones, but all coming from the US there, except for just 2.
So now I'm going to talk about market trends for this product and 3D printing in general in healthcare market specifically. The global 3D printing healthcare market size was valued at around 970 million in 2018 and is projected to reach 3,692 million by 2026. This means growing at a compound annual growth rate of 18% from 2019 to 2026. 3D printing technology can be used to predict the mechanical and tensile strength, and at the same time, 3D printing offers flexibility to the 3D printed objects. This would increase 3D printing applicability in novel healthcare applications. Product innovation and increase in application of 3D printing in healthcare will drive the market growth further. This market will have significant growth because of different technological innovations in this sector and heavy investments for R&D activities related to 3D printing and rapidly expanding customer base, plus increase in scope of biomedical applications, and also extensive R&D activities at the academic and industrial level have fueled the market growth. Collaborations between academic institutions, hospitals, and companies have increased the growth of the market. However, the major factors hampering the growth of the market are high cost of printers, along with lack of structured regulatory frameworks for 3D printers that could be used in healthcare field, plus unfavorable reimbursement policies and copyright and patent infringement concerns. Also biocompatibility issues of 3D printed medical devices and lack of technical expertise. So these are the major obstacles for the growth of the market. On the other hand, untapped markets in the developing countries are expected to provide profitable opportunities for the market players. So now let's talk about market trends in India. The market for 3D printers in India is at its first stages, advancing stages. However, it offers huge growth opportunities in the coming years. The key barriers for adoption in this country are low market awareness, cost constraints, and lower domestic production. Although with the Government of India initiatives to boost the domestic manufacturing sector, these challenges are expected to be overcome. According to available data, India's 3D printer market is projected to record $79 million by 2021. Next slide, please. So here we can see the global 3D printers market revenue share by region. We can see that North America has more than 50% of the market revenue share. Asia Pacific, which includes India, has around 60%. Europe has 23%, and so on. So next slide. In this slide, we can see global 3D printers market revenue share by volume. We can see that global 3D printer market has generated $0.7 billion revenues with volume sales of 70,000 units in 2013. Some of the major drivers in this market are declining prices, increasing IT spending, and penetration of printers manufacturers into 3D printers market. So we can see Indian 3D printers market overview in these slides. We can see that the 3D printers market revenue, which was around $46 million in 2019, and in terms of volume, 2,400 units in 2019, that stands around $90,000-ish per unit.
Okay, so now we're just going to touch on some competition that 3D Systems would have if they went into India. So first is Brahma 3, and they're only really made for personal use, so an individual would buy it and use it at home. Stratasys India, they actually have offices in 13 countries, and they're in all different industries, just like 3D Systems, from personal use to aerospace. So they would definitely be a big competitor. J Group Robotics is actually a franchised company, and they are also in India. Imaginarium, they claim to be the largest rapid prototyping and rapid manufacturing center in India. And then KC Bots, they make user-friendly and powerful printers. And then these are just some of the competitors globally that 3D Systems is already dealing with, that they know that exist, and they're already competing with them regularly.
In terms of SWOT analysis, let me first give you an overview, and then I'm going to talk about each in depth in coming slides. 3D Systems is a provider of 3D content to print solutions. R&D activities, presence in major vertical and global operations are the company's major strength, whereas operating performance remains a cause for concern. Growing global IT hardware market, strategic initiatives, and positive outlook for 3D printers are likely to offer growth opportunities to the company. However, stringent government regulations, competitive pressure, and foreign exchange risks could affect its business performance. So the first strength of 3D Systems is their R&D. 3D Systems invests a significant part of its revenue on R&D. It acquires the technological components necessary for the company's differentiation strategy and the development of reusable product lines. The company's R&D activities focus to develop new products and enhance portfolio of products and services, and to improve and expand the capabilities of solutions. 3D Systems has R&D centers in North Carolina, California, South Korea, Israel, Oregon. and so many other places. As of December 2019, the company had 1,256 patents and more than 322 pending patent applications worldwide. 3D Systems has spent about $80 million on its R&D efforts, which as a percentage of revenue stood at around 30%. The next strength of 3D Systems is its presence in major verticals. For the sake of time, I'm gonna go over these quickly. 3D Systems focuses in its resources and capabilities in major vertical areas, including industrial, healthcare, engineering, and education. It offers 7 distinct 3D printing technologies that address a wide range of industries and applications. As we said earlier, aerospace, automotive, heavy equipment, and product designers and engineers use 3D printers for rapid production of end-use parts. They use 3D printing for creation of lighter vehicles and products. 3D Systems' personalized medicine capabilities include end-to-end simulation, training, and planning, and printing of surgical instruments and devices for personalized surgery and patient-specific medical and dental devices. Education establishments worldwide, from elementary school through to advanced research universities, use 3D Systems 3D printing solutions. And lastly, global operations is another strength of 3D Systems. 3D Systems operate across a wide geographical network, which minimizes the risks arising out of a particular geographic region. The company has operations in the Americas, Europe, the Middle East, and the Asia Pacific regions. The company has research and development facilities in so many places. Its production facilities are spread all around the world, and the company serves customers in a wide range of industries, as I said earlier. In terms of weaknesses, the weakness of 3D Systems is operating performance. Even though the company's revenue increased in 2019 compared to the last fiscal year, its profitability declined. Declining profitability decreases the company's ability to provide higher returns to its shareholders. The company reported an operating loss of around $57 million in 2019 compared to an operating loss of $43 million in 2018. Weak operating performance indicates the lack of efficiency in cost management. The company reported a net loss of around $70 million in 2019 compared to a net loss of $45.5 million in 2018. So opportunities. There is a positive outlook for 3D printers market. The 3D printers market has reported gradually growing trends. Since introduction, the 3D printer has evolved significantly in terms of pricing, variety, and quality of material, accuracy, ability to create complex objects, ease of use, and suitability for office environments. 3D printing is replacing traditional methodologies across various industries. 3D printing also created new applications for model making in certain new markets, such as the education market. Institutions are increasingly incorporating 3D printing into their engineering and design course programs. New applications in dental and orthodontic markets, and also in jewelry market, 3D printers are used to produce custom designed pieces of jewelry. Plus, 3D printing technology is forecasted to advance the printing of metals, including precious metals like silver and gold. Next slide, please. Thank you. The other opportunity for 3D Systems is global IT hardware market. The company is likely to benefit from the growing hardware infrastructure market, since the company designs, develops, manufactures, and markets 3D printers, materials, parts, and other related products to growing IT. So growing IT market will be beneficial for the company. Next slide. So the other available opportunity is initiatives. The company continues to view agreements as a major part of its growth strategy. In February 2020, the company partnered with Sanmina to manufacture certain plastic 3D printing platforms. Through this partnership, the company can deliver better solutions to customers and provides 3D systems. This partnership provides 3D systems with competitive advantage over competitors through a lower cost structure. In January 2020, the company and Coal Plant Biotechnologies entered into a joint development agreement to advance the biomedical industry. Through this agreement, the company plans to integrate 3D printing technologies with Coal Plant's RH collagen-based bioinks to develop a significant impact in regenerative medicine and bioprinting. So threats. Foreign exchange risks. The company operates in many countries, as I said, and is exposed to the fluctuations in foreign exchange rates. The company reports financials in the United States dollars, and therefore its revenue is exposed to volatility of the US dollars against other functional currencies such as Chinese yuan, Swiss franc, British pound and euro, and so on. Major elements exposed to change rate risks include the company's investments in overseas and monetary assets and liabilities arising from business transaction in foreign currencies. In 2019, the company incurred a loss of $3 million from foreign currency translation adjustment. To minimize risks from currency fluctuations, the company could involve in foreign exchange hedging activities by entering foreign exchange forward contracts. However, there could be no assurance that such hedging activities or measures would limit the impact of movements in exchange rates on the company's result of operations. The next threat, could you please go to the next? The next threat is government regulations. The company operates in all major regions across the world. So regulations can affect the company. For example, the European Union passed restrictions on the use of certain hazardous substances and some regulations about the waste. The other example is China. China passed the management methods for controlling pollution by electronic information products. This could restrict imports of products for use in China. These regulatory restrictions hamper the manufacture of electrical and electronic goods using certain hazardous substances. And these conditions and such a strict regulatory environment could affect the company's financial performance and business operations. So the other threat is competitive environment. 3D System operates in highly competitive 3D printing industry. The worldwide market for 3D printing, prototyping, and rapid manufacturing systems is highly competitive. The company faces competition from other suppliers of 3D printers, print materials and software, including CAD design and scanning software, and suppliers of forming manufacturing solutions such as vacuum casting equipment. The company also faces competition from companies that manufacture machines that make machines to make models, prototypes, molds, and small volume to medium volume manufacturing parts. Its major competitors, as Michelle said, include all these companies like Stratasys, X1, Voxeljet. We saw them all in the foreign competition slide. The company also faces significant competition from many national, regional, and local companies within some or all its product lines in each sector. and failure to adequately address these competitive factors could result in reduced sales or prices or both.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about strategic and marketing objectives, starting with the quantitative. So the global market for 3D printers is forecasted to be about $32 billion industry by 2025. The market in as Sogan said, is projected to reach $79 million by 2021. So our goal would be to reach 16 million in sales in India in 2021. Currently, 3D Systems sells their printers for an average of $200,000 per printer, and $16 million in sales in 2021 would require that 3D Systems sells 80 printers. This would be 20% of India's 79 million projected. So that would be a good starting place for 3D Systems. Okay, now we're going to talk about qualitative. So 85% of consumers in India research at least 2 data points before purchasing something. So our marketing online is very important, as well as good customer interactions. So they research by asking and by searching online. So our online presence is very important in India because they do research things before they buy them. There's also a very strong preference for products made in India as opposed to products made elsewhere. So we could consider putting a factory in India if the first few years go well. Then that would be a good way to help with that. And also health is super important, as Nick was saying, in India right now. So that push is really going to help us get into the medical field.
So in terms of segmentation, the company's segmentation strategy mostly emphasizes on 2 criteria: geographical location and business types. Using, can you go to the next slide so we can see? Okay, using geographical locations, they have Americas, Asia Pacific, Europe, Middle East, and Africa. In this slide and the next slides, we can see the allocation of total assets, revenue, and operating income among these geographical segments. So this is the revenue one. The next one is operating income, and the next one. So this is the last one, the capital expenditure in different locations. So we can see all the numbers. And next slide, please. The other segmentation approach they have is based on the type of the business they're doing, which are materials, products, services, systems and related equipments.
Okay, so if it's not already clear, our target is the healthcare industry, and this includes but are not limited to healthcare settings like hospitals, surgery centers, and other medical centers, as well as dentist offices. The uses for medical 3D printing would be to print medical instruments, equipment, implants that are made specifically to fit in the patient's body, and other external prosthetic devices made specifically for the patient. The benefits would be that you have the ability to print an instrument or an implant that is perfectly made for the patient. And it also would help differentiate yourself from other medical centers that don't offer such a client-specific thing.
So I focused a little bit on positioning and marketing for 3D Systems. So the term positioning just looks at how a product will occupy a place in consumers' minds relative to competing products. So usually this is some type of emotional connection, some type of emotional appeal that a product has for consumers. And so this comes through positioning and marketing. So if 3D Systems wants to create a brand that consumers recognize, it must be differentiated from the competition. Now, to their advantage, they would be kind of on the vanguard of this industry, printing 3D medical devices, as much is still to be seen on how things play out. So they do have that advantage for them, but they still need to establish themselves in a market where they are unknown. And so this bottom quote here from a little bit of marketing research just talks about how the company must capitalize on that emotional bond with their consumer. And if you kind of think about, your favorite TV commercials, or like if you're watching the Super Bowl, a lot of those commercials have some type of emotional appeal for these major companies. So they need to position themselves in a global market, in India, where they can bring value or add value to the country. So in order to do that, they need to create some type of educational curriculum or program around their products. So whether it's the 3D printers themselves and how to use them, which would require extensive sales and training, or if it's printing the actual medical devices, they would, 3D systems would work hand in hand with medical professionals to roll this out. So especially in the age of COVID, video learning would be critical. So some type of maybe online platform where 3D systems could use, almost like an index platform, to help their customers reference their products, and almost like a troubleshooting guide or a how-to guide through video or digital engagement tools. They can also position themselves in India as a manufacturer that will provide jobs. So it's a little blurry, but on the right-hand side, countries with jobs at risk, India is in there. And that's where jobs will shift to where consumers are. And this is particularly manufacturing jobs. So certainly the Indian government would want to act on this. And so 3D systems can bring value to the table by saying, hey, we can, create a plant in the future down the line, and we will employ your citizens and bring jobs to your market. So in order to do this, just like the R&D component, they would need to make a capital investment in their marketing materials. They would have to use multiple digital engagement tools, connect with their customers and buyers or prospective buyers. And a key component of this is storytelling, which I'll expand on in a couple slides from here. But this YouTube video link is a link to regarding the shortage of organ donors out there and how 3D printing could, in the future, near future, hopefully help to curb this shortage. And so the video does, create that kind of emotional bond with people, as these organs are saving lives. So it's kind of an instant connection, that consumers can make, or even just, citizens of a country when they're looking at 3D systems entering into their market. This would be, a company that is, yes, making a profit, but also helping, helping for the greater good. And so, as mentioned earlier, 3D printed devices or products in general tend to be in lower volumes. But in the case of medical instruments, it could go one of two ways. A lot of disposable medical instruments or devices have a shorter life cycle. So perhaps the 3D printing market could print these devices in higher volumes to meet that demand. They could get more precision with these devices as they work with medical professionals. Or it could gear towards low volume production. So this would require them to position themselves as a real specialist. So focusing on a certain sector of the medical device industry. So for example, maybe they want to focus on just prosthetics and put the research and design and development into that. Then they would be considered a specialist, and that would probably be, especially at the start, low volume output. And this last bullet talks about organs and prosthetics, which requires a lot of innovation. So they would certainly need the R&D for that. But 3D Systems is a publicly traded company. So some of that, for these capital investments that they're taking on, They would have to propose to their stakeholders, what they're looking to do here, but they could certainly help to raise some funds via their stakeholders.
So what are the products that we're offering specifically in India for the medical market? As we stated earlier, we cover both hardware, which are the printers, and software for our products. We have a variety of printers that are available depending on the applications and the size of the operation in which they will be placed. These first two slides here are just all the printers and the hardware aspect of it, but each printer has a corresponding software that's open-ended, and it allows us to build on it as the industry and the capabilities grow. The software that goes with each printer and the materials used are on this chart here. And like I said, the printers you're going to want to buy is going to depend on the size of the operation, the applications, and the materials that are expected to be used. If you go a couple slides down, we'll go into the software applications. This is more hard, yeah. These specifically touch on these next two slides, the specific softwares that are available. Both the printers and the software come with maintenance contracts and support for the first year. Additional years are available and encouraged, but not necessary. And the different software options allow for different and enhanced functions depending on the level of detail or the needs desired by the customer, such as 3D assisted surgery. We do include a basic software that will get the job done for basic 3D printing of these materials. Think more like a doctor's office rather than a hospital's needs. You go down a couple slides again, there's more software, and then one more, why choose us over the others? Again, we offer end-to-end product services. We have the printers, we have the software, access to materials, and support services. Other benefits that we provide are we will have an India-specific landing page for our website, which is going to have access to all the resources from product specs to training documents and videos, 24/7 support needs. And in addition to that, we're going to place regional, highly trained technicians throughout the market that are going to be available for in-person training, support, and repair functions. And also they're going to be there to provide leadership development as the industry evolves. This is to ensure long-term success, not only for our brand, but for each of our customers. Our products are adaptable to the growing and evolving technology that is advancing in the entire industry. And our product comes with the reassurance for our customers that they with us will continue to stay on the edge of innovation while providing practical applications for the here and now.
So concerning pricing, how did we price our product? 3D printing technology is a superior mean for saving costs and meeting the demand of customization compared with conventional manufacturing processes. We have a few advantages that we had to consider in terms of pricing. We have the advantages of eliminating the need for molds and workshop occupancy and enabling the manufacturing of products with complex structure design. We can manufacture our product at any time and place as long as we have the corresponding equipment. We can reduce the logistics costs of transport and warehousing, and we can avoid the loss caused by uncertainty in the logistic process. In addition, the 3D printing process is extremely flexible. This enables us to respond quickly to customer customization and market variations. Considering all these advantages, we price our product. So in the next slide, we can see that we divided our products into two major categories. Standard products, which are posted by the designer who participates in the platform, waiting to be purchased, and customized products, which are tailored to meet the individual demand of the customer who is not satisfied with the standard products. We have two different kinds of, the previous slide, please. We have two different kinds of pricing strategy for the 3D printing platform that they have been widely used in practice at like other companies. The first one is partial pricing power. The platform first sets a reservation price on the standard product posted by the designer. Then it allows the designer to add a markup to the reservation price as the designer's revenue. For the customized product, the customer is charged a design fee, part of which is paid to the designer as their wage, and the rest is paid to the platform as its revenue. The customer also needs to pay the platform to purchase the customized product. The other strategy is full pricing power. The platform has full pricing power, deciding the final retail price and commission rate for the standard product. The designer receives a fraction of the final price upon the sale of the unit. And as for customized product, the pricing process is the same as I said under the partial pricing power strategy. The full pricing power strategy is commonly adopted by platforms in other fields, which is also used by some 3D printing platforms. Next slide, please. So the price our company is going to charge for the product is based on optimal pricing strategy for a 3D printing platform that sells standard and customized products, taking products differentiation into account. We used partial pricing power pricing strategy. We also considered that the labor cost in India is low. So the average price of our product is about $200,000. And as James said, purchase of a printer and or software solution comes with 1 year maintenance coverage and support. Services include free training, installation, and leadership support for applying new applications and innovations in the industry. Next slide, we can talk about distribution channels. Launching of our product will need to be advertised and distributed to reach the network of hospitals, surgery centers, medical centers, and other similar markets that may have a need for this product and service. The channels of distribution are very important to get the product visible and geared to the public in hopes that our 3D printer will become marketable. So there are two primary channel partnerships that are direct or indirect. Other channels are distributors, wholesalers, value-added sellers, or dealers. With this upcoming printer, we will use different distribution channels to get the best results. The direct distribution channel that we will use, we will market our product directly to the customer. 3D Systems website allows us to sell exclusively to the consumers and negotiate deals, answer questions, and provide direct service. We will also use the social media and our marketing team and catalogs for sales. The indirect distribution channel that we will use is actually use of indirect partnership means 3D Systems will sell the new product to another entity who sells other products. 3D System has partnered with ScanSource, which is one of the leading international value-added distributor of specialty technology products. ScanSource's new technologies team will be dedicated to the sale and support of our 3D printing solutions. The other major channel for marketing our product is partnering with Konica Minolta Business Solutions, which is a leader in enterprise content management, technology optimization, and cloud services. 3D Systems will use Konica Minolta's network of dealers and authorized resellers, as well as its direct sales channels for distributing the products.
Okay, so just a little bit more on the promotional plan as far as marketing goes. And this expands on storytelling, but storytelling would be key for their marketing strategy in India. With a platform of social media outlets such as Facebook and Twitter. This chart on the right kind of shows how much material is absorbed by a consumer when storytelling is at play here. So using images for more compelling content, video, stories, kind of like little anecdotes as well. They're retained much more by consumers. And so the medical device industry lends itself well to storytelling. Another way that 3D Systems could market itself and get their name out there is through conferences and product education. So these conferences, if anyone, works in sales or has a background in sales, trade shows are a big deal, where you might have, a couple hundred or more vendors at one show, and, usually like a convention center. And so these would be opportunities for 3D Systems sales reps to talk with decision makers out in trade shows, as well as partnerships with hospitals and medical institutions across India. And all of this advertising and promotional content has to adhere to regulations and guidelines. So in the US, there are FDA regulations that are required for advertising and marketing of medical devices. So the same would have to adhere in India. Just a little bit more on storytelling. The research behind it is that people think narratively. So they kind of try to follow a storyline. So this would lend itself well to connecting with customers, connecting with people via digital outlets, can engage their consumers. And then this last quote here talks about people memorizing or remembering things in like an episode format. So stories with an inciting incident, experiences, outcomes, summaries, nuances, person-to-person connections or relationships. And that's all from marketing research. On the right here is actually a picture of a trade show in India for medical device sales. So you can see, how large it is and how comprehensive it is, with, several other vendors there. 3D Systems could get their name out there and, like I said, meet with these decision makers, promote their products. And this would look a little bit different in 2020 or moving forward, until we can get back to this type of in-person event.
On this slide here, we've got a outline of our agenda for the next 5 years. Initially in year one, we want to secure our foothold in the country by ensuring we have a centrally located space and Indian technicians. The physical space will serve our limited needs as a warehouse for parts, repairs, extra machines, a depot to help facilitate shipments as needed, and whether it be for printers or materials, and an office space for our technicians to have a home base. This location will also act as a showroom where we can demonstrate the variety of printers and applications to prospective customers. Also in year one, we want to break into the market through the participation in medical conferences, trade shows, demonstrations, just like Nick was talking about. In year two, we plan on ramping up our marketing campaign in order to increase our geographic target radius beyond the launch cities. For our marketing campaign, we want to highlight the success stories we've had in India specifically, as well as highlight the applications currently being used to change people's lives. Again, going heavy on the storytelling and how it can affect you in the medical device industry. In year three, we want to take a step back and evaluate where we are as a company, how our growth has been in the market, and basically do a gut check for our strategy and goals within this market. We want to evaluate this and make changes where necessary to align with our company vision. Part of this is our plan to connect or reconnect with all of our Indian customers and explore where they're at and if their needs are being met. This will be an opportunity for us to explore the evolution of technology and create developmental horizons for what's changing in the industry. The goal here is to strengthen the relationships we've already created and explore opportunities for increased customer satisfaction. In year four, we want to revitalize our marketing campaign and begin to market as an Indian company by highlighting the growth of India alongside the growth of 3D printing. We want our brand to resonate as the brand in India for 3D printing. The campaign will highlight the success stories and the lives we've touched, and the benefit of decreased dependence on importing medical devices, as a personal piece of equipment that's made right here at home. And then in year five will be the year we evaluate our growth opportunities beyond what's outlined in this 5-year plan. Going forward, the new goal of growth in the market will be to take a look at increasing our market share by overcoming the competition. Part of this strategy is going to be to work with the Indian government and help develop private and public healthcare initiatives to help India take care of its increasing and aging population.
So this is the profit and loss statement for 3D Systems in India. So we start with, in 2021, our goal is to get the 16 million in sales, which is about 80 printers as it shows on the profit and loss statement. So the sales, the number of units sold is actually increasing by about 10% each year. We expect it to increase a little quicker than that, closer to 2024 and 2025, but we did a more reserved approach. As you can see, we have to account for returns, refunds, and discounts. They're only about 1% of our total sales revenue. The cost of production of the printers are quite expensive, and we also have a high research and development, as well as general selling and administrative expenses because of our good customer service, being able to reach out to someone every day 24/7 if you need help printing something, if you need help with the software, we have someone there. So as you can see, 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024, we actually are operating at a loss. By 2025, we're expected to operate at a gain. This shows just a steady increase of, sticking to our promotions and really getting our feet in the ground in India and helping them see that we are there to help, and we're just become known in India. So by 5 years from now, we expect to be operating at a profit. Thank you for watching our presentation.